Right, and that's a story that we have in the nation. NLC put to task on 2.8 billion set aside to buy land. And of course, the Auditor General doing his work, and he seems to be doing a good job. The only thing is, it seems to end right there. We don't seem to have direction in what happens after that. And I think I remember an article in the paper, if it was not yesterday, the day before, where one of the NLC workers was arrested and was found with 1.5 million shillings in the office, cash. But Bernard, the question being, when will we ever see the big fish put to task and brought to book? How is it that you have that amount of money, 2.8 billion shillings set aside for land compensation, yet some of them do not have land plot numbers, and who was paid the money?
Mike, it is sad that corruption and mismanagement of public funds has become a big cancer in this country. It's eating everywhere. All parts of these societies are affected by corruption and mismanagement. And the Ministry of Land, or the Land Ministry, has been, to me, it's like a cash cow, where people just go there to load. Because there are some time back we heard of, there was an investigation of some of the officials. We were talking about 1-point-something million yesterday. Mm-hmm. The other time there were people who were found with lots of money in their bedrooms, under the mattresses. And these are officials of Ministry of Lands. So there's need for serious overhaul of the entire department. Everything can be, nowadays we have systems, we have advanced in terms of technology. Why can't we have these things put on, in electronic forms, so that we don't still deal with the manual that, my file or the file of this and this land has disappeared, or this. There was a time we were told that Charity Gill was doing a cleanup of the ministry, but after digitizing the files. But after that, nothing has happened. It seems everything has gone back to where it was in 80s. Again, we need to start looking at what the reports of the Auditor General talks about, because we have seen so many of those reports coming out, but there's no implementation, there's no, apprehension of the people who are mostly concerned. So we need also to start seeing what's the end results of those reports. What happens, because we want to see the big fish being arrested, taken to court, and let the justice take its course, because people cannot go on looting
and get away with it.
Yeah, and getting away with it.
Narima, we come back to the system again, and of course corruption being one of the huge things that we as a country grapple with and have not found a solution. How do we get over this dragon of corruption? And again, looking at the National Lands Commission, it's an area where, of course, there is a lot of questions, more questions being asked with no answers coming up.
I think that the Kenyan people need to actually realize the gravity of this issue. And a lot of young people, for a fact, I know, do not understand the crisis that we're in, because this is a crisis. And like today on Twitter, we'll be talking about the debt issue. Because if we think about every Kenyan citizen now owing about 100,000 Kenya shillings because of debt, and the borrowing is seemed to continue, then that number is going to increase. If Uhuru Kenyatta, well, he's working on a legacy, and he's really focused on the 4-plan agenda. Really, a legacy would be accountability in his administration. The amount of money that is wasted can be utilized to fulfill his 4-plan agenda without even going and borrowing for more money.
If we just managed the corruption issue.
Exactly. And I really believe that in due time, people are going to be concerned about how government is spending money. And that's why we're now seeing, as much as the Auditor General has been doing these reports, there's been a bit more of an uproar as he continues to do them, because people are feeling the pinch. We cannot be talking about paying high taxes, and then we're talking about being fined for not filing our taxes. And the fine is up to 20,000 shillings, even when you just didn't do a zero-file tax. So we're talking about the government and seeing the government trying to find ways to get more resources from its own people, yet we still owe the government more because of the borrowing. And when we look at how they're spending it, it's in a manner that is just irresponsible. I believe we're going to see a lot more young people getting out there and demanding for accountability. So that's one way that we're going to see the systems being put into shape, especially if this administration doesn't want the people angry with them. We're one of the countries that pays so much for food. I mean, our food tax is too high.
It's very high, and it's actually going
It's
higher.
too high.
I mean, just recently we saw that fuel prices are going to go up.
No.
We have our energy prices going up in terms
Yes.
of electricity, so
Yes.
everything is literally going high, except salaries, of course. But there you go. Let's now look at the headlines, and for the benefit